is up, guys? It's Variety or Jack, and today I'm bringing you my PC build. Like I mentioned in the last video, I wanted to do a PC build video talking about my computer because it's my pride and joy at this point. It comes in at $1,000 including the OS, so for all of you those who like to complain about why the OS is in the PC build, here it is. Call your nuggets. It's right here. It's okay. It's $1,000 including the OS. I'm going to leave the PC part picker list in the description below, so if you're interested in building the same computer I did, which is an absolute beast like I mentioned, it's down below in the description, so you can go click on that and order the parts from there. So let's get right on into this. So the CPU that I'm running on this thing is the Intel Core i5-4690K. It's clocked at 3.5 GHz. It's a quad-core processor. Obviously, it's a K series, so it can be overclockable, and it's going to enable you to do things like streaming, rendering, and playing games at a high efficiency. It's a great CPU. It comes in at a price of about $210, so it's definitely worth the buy, and it's definitely on the low end for good CPU, so I would definitely pick it up. The CPU cooler that I'm running on this thing is the Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo. As I mentioned before, the CPU is an overclockable processor, so you're obviously going to want to go with a non-stock CPU cooler. Now this thing, if you've ever seen pictures of it, is absolute giant. It sits in your computer like sideways, and it feels like it's going to fall off because it's only in with glue and a little bit of screws, but it does its job really well. If you're looking to overclock with the CPU, I would highly recommend the CPU cooler, and it comes in at a price of about $25, so it's definitely a steal when it comes to that area. The motherboard that I'm running is the MSI Z97 Gaming 5 ATX LG1150 motherboard. Now this thing is absolutely gorgeous if you ever see a picture of it. I'm sorry I can't really provide a lot of these. If I do have a picture, I'll leave it right here. You can look at it right here, but it's absolutely gorgeous. It's got a great color scheme, and it's an absolute beast when it comes to its performance. It can run Core i7, Core i5, Core i3, Pentium, and Celeron LGA1150 socket CPUs. Obviously, the Intel Core i5-4690K is an LG1150 socket, so this fits perfectly with this motherboard. This motherboard also has a great color scheme. It's really nice matte black and matte red, and it can support up to 32 gigabytes of RAM if you ever want to increase that in the future. So it's an absolute steal when it comes to it, and the price comes in at about $140. So it's definitely something that you should pick up, and it goes great with everything else. The RAM that I'm running on this motherboard is the G-Skill Ripjaws X Series 8GB 2x4GB DDR3 1600 RAM. This is pretty good for a gaming PC. You're gonna want to start out about 8 gigs at least to be able to do multiple things at the same time, like running Chrome or rendering a video or playing a game and listening to music. RAM's just going to enable you to do multiple things at one time without losing efficiency or power on your computer. So 8 gigabytes is pretty standard. Memory, your RAM you can choose, find a better deal. In my PC list I have it at $45. G-Skill is definitely one of those companies that's pretty reliable when it comes to their RAM. So if you want to pick up the exact same thing like in my list, this is definitely a steal when it comes to the RAM. And now for the storage, I'm running a Seagate Barracuda 1TB internal hard drive. I couldn't afford an SSD in this build for under $1,000, so I decided to only go with the hard drive, considering that it has more space for a lower price. In the future I do plan on buying an SSD, but if you want to stay in the same price range that I'm in, this 1TB hard drive is pretty efficient, and it has obviously a terabyte of space, so you're going to be able to store everything that you want, your renders, your videos, your games, whatever you put on your PC. This thing has plenty of space for it. Now the GPU that I'm running on this thing is the XFX Radeon R9 290 4GB double dissipation video card. At the time when I bought this, there was a mail-in rebate, so it was down to a price of about $290, so it was definitely cheaper than the 970, which is about the equivalent. The only difference between the two of these now is that this one's louder and it takes up more power than the 970. They're both about the same price now, which comes at about $360. So if you want to get a 970, go ahead. If you want to get an AMD graphics card, go with this one as well. They're both, at the end of the day, very good. The only difference is that this XFX, from what I've read, is a little bit louder and takes up a little bit more power, but I haven't noticed either one of those when it comes to my gaming PC. So either way, they're both great graphics cards, but that's what I put in mind, and it's on my list if you want to go check that out in the description. Now for the case, I'm running a Corsair Graphics Series 230T orange ATX mid-tower case. This thing looks absolutely gorgeous, and I'm going to put a picture up, and it's going to kind of block the screen. It's got a glass window right on the side if you look at it, and you can see into your parts. As well, it's got a nice matte orange finish on the side, and it's got 2 orange LED fans in the front. It's absolutely gorgeous because I love the color orange, and on top of the fact that you can see into it, it makes this case, I mean, it's a little bit pricey. It's about $75, but for me, it just made my PC look absolutely awesome because I love the whole orange color scheme. So that's why I bought this case. It's $75. Cases can be, changed in here and out. I would recommend getting a mid-tower case though. Full tower cases can be pretty big and can be pretty heavy, and mid-tower cases tend to be cheaper. So if you're looking looking to buy a case for your PC, I'd go with the mid tower. And lastly, but certainly not least, their power supply. For my power supply, I'm running a Corsair CX 600 watt 80 plus bronze certified semi-modular ATX power supply. That's also a mouthful. Definitely you want to get about like 600 watts if you want to overclock and be in the safe range for everything else. So I recommend this one. It comes at $45. It's semi-modular, so it makes things like cabling pretty easily. It's a great power supply, nothing else really to it. It's obviously there's no like great colors or anything to it, but it's definitely one of those things that you definitely need for your PC, and it's $45. It's bronze certified. I definitely pick this up while you still can. Now that's gonna do it for me today, guys. If you have any questions, comments, or concern, leave them in the comments box below. I have been checking my DMs, PMs, whatever you want to call them, on YouTube more recently. Now I know I say that a lot of the times and I don't really respond, but if you really have anything specific like collaborations or anything like that, hit me up in there or tweet me. My link is in the description. Any of those places, reach me. I will respond to you because I'm pretty much always active on YouTube. I check it all the time, like in school when I probably shouldn't be. But hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you're building this PC or you want to build a gaming PC, leave a big thumbs up because it really does help me out. And if you really want to stick around for all the cool content that I produce a video, or I put out a video every other day. Leave a subscribe to my channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. My name's iVariety, and I'm signing out, guys. Peace. Yeah.